Hello. If you are watching this video, most likely you are a parent who has found yourself thrust into the middle of a pandemic-induced learning environment. That means either your child is at home and now you have been commissioned to take on the added task of overseeing your child's education. Or you might be considering, or maybe you've already sent your child back to school. Either way, you are faced with a situation that none of us have ever seen before. Because of the present situation, many children are feeling anxious and upset, restless and fearful. And this in turn has parents feeling anxious and frustrated and maybe even angry and overwhelmed. These emotional issues are interfering with your child's ability to learn. They're interfering with your ability to manage your child's behavior and maybe with your professional life and your home life. So what do? Fortunately, you are in the right place.
Miss Jackson, Miss Jackson.
Success and Mastery Consulting. Now, there are at least 3 reasons why it's important to solve those emotional issues connected with your child's learning. 1, we are always feeling. Whether or not you're aware of it, you're feeling. If you're not aware of what you're feeling, then that means you're swallowing it. And unfortunately, buried emotions don't die. They stay there and they fester, and later on they come back up more intensely than they were at the beginning. The second reason is emotions are contagious. Okay, you see this thing right here? Put your 2 fingers right here and touch right here. Come on, and repeat after me. Say, this is my frontal lobe. Come on, say it. This is my frontal lobe. Okay, you can put them down now. Your frontal lobe is responsible for helping you to make good decisions, for exercising good judgment, for making plans and executing those plans. All of that is frontal lobe. Anytime someone is feeling upset, the frontal lobe shuts down. And it shuts down because the blood leaves it to go back into the limbic system to deal with the emotion. That means you're going to respond to your environment and to whatever happens in your emotional brain. That never works. Here's something else. Has your kid ever done something that made you scratch your head and wonder, what in the world were you thinking? Oh! Your child's frontal lobe is not fully developed. That means he or she is always in their emotional brain. So no matter what's going on, they are going to respond emotionally. You might ask them to take out the trash, and they suck their teeth, or stomp or pout. They're not doing that on purpose. That is because they are responding from their emotional brain. And if there's something about the task that they don't like, that's going to come through in their emotions. They can't help it. Frontal lobe is responsible for choices and consequences. So if I do this now, this is how it's going to affect me later. Well, your kids, their frontal lobe is not fully developed, So that's why they do things and, without thinking about the consequences. So tell them that. Tell them right now, you might not be thinking about your future, but I'm here and I am thinking about your future, and I'm here to help prepare you for a bright, happy, and successful future. So you're saying, oh, well, I don't care and I don't want to do that. You're saying that because your frontal lobe is not fully developed. You are working with an underdeveloped brain. So it's my job to be your frontal lobe. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, here's something else that's interesting. Did you know that whatever emotion you're feeling at any given time, when you're communicating with your child, that child is going to pick up on that emotion? Sometimes we're going to feel bad. That's just part of life. That's how life is. And if you have that emotion in you and you start interacting with your child and trying to get your child to, say, do his homework, or clean up her room. And even if you're smiling or speaking in kind of a pleasant sounding voice, while deep inside you're feeling frustrated because you just looked at all of the assignments that your child has not completed. Or maybe the Zoom app went kaboom, right? Oh, yeah, that's frustrating. They are going to pick up that emotion and they are going to mirror it.
So just every day felt very chaotic, and like there would be at least one moment every day where I would just lose control of the classroom and things would escalate. And a lot of that did have to do with kind of the personalities in the group I had, but more of it I feel like was just my inability to regulate things and to model that calmness that everyone was like craving to have but couldn't really find to grasp onto. So there would be not only like verbal altercations every day, but also physical things. And just like that sense of safety coming to school we didn't have, because we would struggle through all of the learning lessons just to regulate the behaviors, because my classroom management was not in place. It was very upsetting because I felt like I was trying so hard and just what I was trying wouldn't work, or I would work for a day and then I couldn't keep the consistency up. So I just felt like kind of like a failing year because I was trying very hard. Like I feel like I always had like the care I need for them, but the tools I didn't have.
Now, here's the third reason why it's important to get rid of those emotional issues that are tied to this learning situation we're in. Now, not only does mood determine behavior, it also determines what memory the information your child is learning will go into, whether it's short-term memory or long-term memory. If your child is in a bad mood when they're learning this stuff, it will not go into the long-term memory. Do you know why? Here's why. Because whatever mood your child is in when they're learning this stuff, they have to go back into that mood in order to remember it. So if they're in a bad mood, if they're feeling frustrated and anxious, then they have to go back into that mood in order to remember it. And what mind wants to do that? Nobody's mind wants to do that. What's the solution? Well, here are at least 3 powerful things you can do.